The Inter-Ministerial Committee by Ministers of Employment and Labour, Home Affairs, Transport and Police are about to address the media, giving feedback on the outcomes of engagements with the freight, logistics and trucking industry. That engagement follows a series of talks between the IMC and the industry over the past few days. Let's take you live there now.
Thanks to the program director, and good afternoon to the ministers, the DGs, the commissioner, the leaders of the various stakeholders who are with us today, those who are both within the bargaining council representing the employer and the employees, and those who are also outside as major stakeholders in this trucking and logistic industry. The statement which we have is as follows. The Road and the Freight Inter-Ministerial Committee, consisting of myself as Minister of Employment and Labour, the Minister of Transport, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Aaron Mtwaledi, and Minister of Police, Mr. Begicele, held engagements with the employers and employees of the freight and logistic industry to resolve the disagreements around the recruitment of foreign truck drivers. This interministerial team, we call it the IMC, was formed with the mentioned ministries to deal with escalating road blockages and protest by the disgruntled South African truck drivers, because it is felt that these protests and blockages have adverse impacts on the mobility, they scare the foreign investors, and most importantly, very negative impacts on the economy and the essential supply chains using affected corridors. The protests have been a response by the truck drivers based on their perception that the industry was employing foreign truck drivers at the exclusion of South African drivers on a pretext of scarcity of skilled truck drivers in South Africa. The IMC has formed a task team constituting of the DGs from the 4 departments that make up the IMC. The task team is charged with conducting research and plot a plan of action for the resolution of the challenges affecting the industry and report to the IMC. And to mitigate this, must restore peace and stability in the Inter-Ministerial Committee. It has been engaging with the disgruntled truck drivers to find an amicable solution. To this effect, the Inter-Ministerial Committee met with employees and employers of the industry on Sunday, the 19th of June 2022, to report on the progress made since January 2022 to resolve these challenges in the industry. So different departments and their respective ministries reported on the various actions they have been asked to undertake in the resolution of the challenges raised by the truck drivers. Both the Department of Employment and Labour and Department of Home Affairs have reported that while some operators have asserted that South Africa lacked skilled truck drivers, the inspection and law enforcement operations have found that truck driving was an abundant skill in South Africa and therefore not a scarce skill as purported by some of the operators. So the Department of Home Affairs reported that it conducted over 21 joint multidisciplinary law enforcement operations and inspections to assess the extent of the use of the foreign and at times illegal truck drivers. The protests, which have taken place in the form of blocking national roads, have compromised the country's economic activities and left the affected parts without access to services. Should the need arise, members of the South African police will be strategically deployed, especially in our national roads, to enforce the law. These multidisciplinary and joint enforcement operations conducted across the country saw 213 arrests of the foreign truck drivers found to be in contravention of the immigration laws, with 19 of those in possession of fraudulent documents. So the Department of Transport also reported on its responsibilities on the matter, and the report details elements of an action plan drafted to tackle the challenges from the Transport Department's point of view. And the action plan derives from a culmination of a series of meetings held with the industry and will form part of the blueprint to be announced once approved by all parties who are gathered here today. The implementation plan consists of the following actions. We have almost 11 actions. First one, facilitate the appointment of the task team. Secondly, enforce of the visa requirements, the need for consideration of all foreign driving licenses, registration and compliance with the labor laws, registration of operators in terms of Section 45 of the National Road Traffic Act, review of the traffic register number, review of the cross-border road transport legislation, amendment of the National Road Traffic Regulation, integrated joint multidisciplinary law enforcement operations, the implementation or implement the driver training program, and lastly, the consideration of the introduction of operating licenses for the industry. And the parties in attendance at this meeting agreed unanimously with the elements of the implementation plan, except for the Road Freight Association misgivings with the introduction of the operating license. That's action number 11, which we are going to still subject it to further engagements. Each organization participating in the process will be represented by 2 delegates, and monthly report meetings will be held by the IMC to review progress on actions being implemented. Thank you. This is the statement on behalf of the stakeholders who are gathered here, led by the 4 ministers.
Thank you to the Minister of Employment and Labour, Minister Thula Singesi, for presenting the statement that has been crafted jointly by all members represented here today. As stated prior, today's gathering is following a number of events and meetings that have taken place prior. I will therefore give platform to the representatives that we have that have formed part of the task team that will be actioning out the implementation plan. I'll therefore request that the representative from TASA please do come forward and give their contribution. Thank you.
Keep their full name.
Good morning, all protocol observed. My name is Mary Paddy. I'm the president of the Truckers Association of South Africa, which is TASA. We would like to, as TASA, commend the work of the Department of Transport thus far by putting together the task team. We therefore agree with the statement read today. And just to add on that, we want to call and emphasize that it is important that this industry be regulated, and we call for the urgent reintroduction of the operating licenses in South Africa. It will address the non-progressive apartheid policies that denied majority key players, in particular in the economic stream of this country. So TASA is saying this industry must be regulated, and all the implementation plan that has been set, it will make sure that we go to the right direction and also assist with the concern by the truck drivers. And we thank you very much, because this is a great breakthrough for our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now like to request a representative from the All Truck Drivers Forum to please come and give their contribution and comment.
Sanibona, siyabonga Dlamini chairperson we-ATDF. Sizoqala nje sibonge.
No, just say name food.
All Truck Drivers Alliance. Sizoqala nje sibonge la ukuthi abahlonishwa abaphathi bethu la besukumele lo ndaba lethu sabashayeli base-South Africa. Sibonge kakhulu ke ne-document ephumile, sithemba ukuthi ayizohlala ke inga-enforce ekuthini isebenze, ngoba lokho iwona okungagcina kusibuyisela kuleli silalele sikulona esimeni ke sabashayeli ukugcina kwabo. Okunye ke kubaphathiswa bonke nje ukukhulu kakhulu ukudlulisa ukuthi sibonakala ukuthi sikhona nathi sabashayeli. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Thank you very much, Siyabonga from All Truck Drivers Alliance. I'll now request a representative from the South African Transport and Allied Workers Union to please come forward to give their comment and contribution.
Afternoon, everyone. Honorable ministers, all stakeholders. This is Willie Lekwati from South African Transport and Allied Workers Union, SADAM. We want to acknowledge and confirm the statement that was being read by the Honourable Minister of Employment and Labour. While we are not agreeing to any disruption of economic activities, we want to applaud the work done, in particular, as of yesterday, the 19th, in that if you look at the compact that is yet to be entered into between parties today, and also the terms of reference, including the action plan, it's quite evident that we will achieve what will be beneficial for the interest of the public and the industry. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Thank you very much to the South African Transport and Allied Workers Union. I'll now request a representative from the Road Freight Bargaining Council to please come forward and give their comments and contributions.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wendy Mjali. I am from the Road Freight Bargaining Council. We are the Bargaining Council. Well, we agree with the statement that has been made today, and we are comfortable with the agreement that has been reached by the task team. We do confirm that the action plan will definitely address the problems of employing the foreign nationals. And we will ensure that the action plan will be implemented, and we will continue with monitoring and enforcing the main collective agreement of the Bargaining Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Road Freight Bargaining Council representative. I'll now like to request our second last contributor of the task team, the Road Freight Association, to please come forward and give their comments and contributions.
Good afternoon, Ministers. Good afternoon, South Africa. The Road Freight Association has been making a statement for 5 years now. And that statement has been, if we don't deal with the core issue, we'll continue down this route for the next 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. And we'll lose out as a country. I want to thank the 4 ministers who've been involved in the task team for the 5 years. I want to thank them for their dedication and being willing to listen to us. The most important thing is that we address the core issue. Core issue, non-compliant operators, those who willingly want to break the rules in the country and not comply with either labour legislation or transport legislation. We need to deal with them. That will remain our core. We do not support Suggestion 11, which is a very clever move by someone to try and capture the industry. We will not accept that. We will not accept that. You either live by the rules in the country or you go somewhere else. Ministers, once again, I thank you for your indulgence and assistance in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the representative from the Road Freight Association. I'd now like to request the last member of the task team who's representing the Motor Transport Workers Union to please come forward and give their comments and contributions. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Musa Shabalala from Motor Transport Workers Union. All protocol observed. I would like to confirm that the statement was read by Minister. It's a true reflection of what we have discussed as a task team, and we believe that the action plan that we have put forward, it will be able to resolve the current situation that we are facing, particularly by blockages of the road in our country. Therefore, as Motor Transport, we'll also commit to work with the task team, making sure that we enhance the action plan in order to achieve what it was purposed for. I thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Those were the task team representatives from the different unions and heads of industry from the trucking and logistics industry. I would now like to hand over to members of the Ministerial Committee to please give their comments. And I will start off by requesting that the Minister of Home Affairs, Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, please come forward. Minister, I've been given strict instructions to start with you.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Let me say all the salutations have been made on our behalf by Minister Nglesi. I don't have to repeat them. I'm very happy today that we are gathered here and agreeing as South Africans on how we are going to run our country and how we are going to do things. I'm particularly encouraged and happy by the emphasis by all and sundry that we must respect the laws of the country, because some of these problems which have emerged are because there are some people who don't want to respect the law. The laws are there and they just ignore them and then form a crisis and then start asking questions, where is the government when the laws, when they are deliberately breaking the laws. And what am I talking about? For instance, it's a well-known fact that in the laws of the country, the Minister of Home Affairs must compile and gazette a scarce skill list, meaning the occupations that are in short supply in the country, but the country cannot do without, especially economically. That's what the scarce skill means. It doesn't mean it's an important skill. It simply means it's something that the economy can't do without, or the country can't do without, but it is in short supply in the country. If it's a very, very important skill and complex skill, but we are not short of supply of people in the country, it doesn't appear on the scarce skill list. But as you'll realize, the Department of Home Affairs has got no capacity whatsoever alone to decide what skills everybody needs. So we ask the Department of Higher Education, which works with universities and institutions like Human Science Research Council, to develop a scarce skill list, which then goes to the network, where there is labor, where there are employers, where there are unions, and where there's civil society, and compile such a list. I'm really trying to give you this long story, because I've heard stories in Durban where they are saying there are certain forms of drugs that needs a scarce skill. I'm not against that, but the law is clear. If a skill is scarce, and you want to employ somebody from outside the country, you go to the Department of Labor, Minister Ngesi's department, and you give a proof. That's what the law is saying, not me. You give a proof that this is a scarce skill, and I've searched throughout the whole country, and I cannot find a South African who can do this job. If they agree with you and are satisfied, they then give you a certificate, which you bring to Home Affairs and say, Home Affairs, I come from the Department of Labor. Here is my certificate. I've searched. I can't find anybody. I've identified somebody from outside the country. The Department of Home Affairs will give you a corporate visa. And that corporate visa must have the name of that person who you want to acquire from outside the country. How easy can things be? Why is it being made so difficult? The second thing I want to mention, because people believe any foreign person cannot work in South Africa, it's not true. When we do our operations on the road, we check whether a person is legal or not. And let's make it very clear. It is illegal to hire an illegal person in the country. And we don't understand why employers should do that. It's illegal to hire an illegal person, and you are going to be charged for that. Thirdly, if somebody has got legal documents to be in South Africa from Home Affairs, then as to who hires them, it's not a matter of Home Affairs, that one, especially if that job is not a scarce skill. So these issues must be understood, and if we keep according to them, some of these problems that brought us here together will not have been there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Minister of Home Affairs, Minister Aaron Motsoaledi. I apologize once more, Minister, for bulldozing you. However, I was also given strict instructions. I will now hand over to the Minister of Transport, Minister Fikile Mbalula, to give an overview from the Department of Transport. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Program Director, fellow ministers, colleagues in Cabinet, individual members of the trucking industry, the unions, the forums, business owners with us here, and they've spoken for themselves. Yesterday, on Father's Day, we spent our day in this room. We didn't spend time with our children as fathers. I think when we remember this day, when Father's Day comes next year, I think we will have done important work. And we have all worked tirelessly to get to this point. And today marks a milestone in a road we have traveled in finding consensus around issues that were raised with government, by the trucking industry. We have responded to the complaints that we sign agreement and then we disappear. So this to us is not a movie, it's not a photo shoot. It's a real work that has gone into this, because our economy is battered by these activities. And others have been impatient, and thanks to everybody who has been very patient with this process. And to this point here today. And as we unveil the task team and sign this compact, which clearly outlines the implementation plan, which this plan include appointment of the task team, integrated and multidisciplinary joint law enforcement, review of cross-border road transport legislation, and review of the traffic register number, TRN. As the Minister of Transport and my colleagues, we appreciate all the efforts and commitment that all stakeholders have shown towards the draft of this implementation plan. This implementation plan is very important. We have been on the ground where roads were blocked. We spent hours and hours negotiating with truckers on the ground. These ministers here have been on the ground with truckers on the ground, asking them to unblock the roads. And we now commit ourselves to the implementation of this 11-point plan. We have had government and the business which says that they will never agree to that. Everybody started with that militance of not agreeing. This country would have never been free if everybody came to the table and said, we will never agree. We had Codesa that produced the results. It's not going to be easy going forward on some of these issues, but we will negotiate our path to ensure that the 11-point plan, where we don't agree, we will still engage going forward. As stakeholders, we need to distance ourselves from violence and blockades that are occurring in our roads. We have agreed on this, and among others, we've got time frames that every month we will meet as this assembly to evaluate the implementation of the work plan. The task team is going to ensure that the 11 points are implemented. Every month we come back, we look at the work done, and then a report back. If government is sluggish in its commitment, the sector is sluggish, and the business and everybody involved, the workers, we will come back to the center every month and reflect on that. Because this is the future of South Africa where we are heading to. So I wish to pause there and thank the media as well for their keen interest in the story, day and night, and who have been following this story with us and the work that we've been doing. So I just want to pause there and say that this is a milestone and it's an important achievement that we can't allow to slip through our fingers. Violence has never produced anything. It's never produced anything. This economy is battered. This economy is producing bloodbath of unemployment, joblessness. We can't afford any of our people to be in the streets. But at the same time, we can never accept that our people must be in the streets over a skill that they have. And driving a truck is not a scarce skill. And those who are involved, like Peggy Taylor will speak for himself, it is business, it is the workers. Zongai, you're on the wrong side of the law, we're going to act. Those business companies that are on the wrong side of the law, you're going to face the wrath of the law. That's what we're going to do. In terms of the law, foreign nationals in our system who don't belong there, in terms of this agreement, we're going to do that. Over and above that, the law will bite. And Labour will speak for itself in relation to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Minister of Transport, Minister Fikile Mbalula. I'll now like to request the Minister of Employment and Labour, Minister Thulasingwesi, to please come to grant his comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just for emphasis, as Minister Mbalula has said, we've noted the concerns of the Road Freight Association in relation to the consideration of the introduction of operating licenses of the industry. And we have agreed that further engagements will continue in the form of, or in this forum, to come with the solutions. One of the things we pride ourselves as South Africans is the comparative advantage we have on the skills to negotiate. We've been able to negotiate very difficult things in this country. So there's no replacement for negotiations in order to come up with solutions. And issues of transformation to this government are non-negotiable. Equally, I want to emphasize and send a very clear message to all the employers, not just in the freight industry, that the non-compliant, the unregistered, and what somebody calls the unscrupulous employers who continue to exploit the deliberate people, who continue to deliberately exploit the people who are desperate, is not going to be allowed, and use that to displace the South African workers. And this is a message to all the employers in every industry. We cannot allow the employers to go back and introduce slave labor in the country, violating the immigration and the labor laws. That message must be very clear. We've agreed we are going to be very hard from now onwards. Thank you. I have an instruction from my colleagues. Dudula was here yesterday, and we have agreed that this forum was meant for the stakeholders in the industry. Therefore, they recused themselves after some discussions. But we have said, because we are a government which is ready, which is open to engage frankly on the issues, we are ready to meet with them. We are arranging a meeting this week so that we can talk about the issues they want to raise in a different forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Minister of Employment and Labour, who also chairs the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Trucking and Logistics Industry. I would now like to finally request the Minister of Police, Minister Bengele, to come and give his comments and contributions.
Thanks, ministers and all stakeholders. As protocol has been announced, from the side of police, we understand that we are crying the wrong funeral here. We are really crying the wrong funeral. But ministers, police have no business to be here. And we hope that Minister Nxesi, you will reduce your ministerial team by taking the Minister of Police out because there will be no need for him to come and sit here. That does not mean then that we forget what our job is. It's very prescribed. Our job is to do many things, but at the end of the day, it's to enforce the law. It's to enforce the law when people don't want to keep the law. But by the look of things, it looks like you have just taken us out of work when I listen to agreements here and things that people are committing themselves they are going to do. No matter what. These things must be implemented. And these things, as are actioned going forward, let the people of South Africa go. Let people on the road to drive where they want to go. Let kids go to school. Let those that are sick go to hospitals. Let the roads that are in South Africa belong to the 60 million of South Africa. Therefore, the commitment to say no matter what, people will continue to talk, but please stay away from the roads. It's a request. We are requesting you to take us out of work, please. Make us unemployed as South African police. We don't want to be employed by you on the road. Go, talk, continue. We have made a request to some people that said they have information that there are people that continue to employ people that are not supposed to employ. I request that list. I'm not going to mention no method promise, but I'm requesting that list to get so that we, as we accompany the Minister of Labour and the Labour people and the Home Affairs to go there to verify if those people are supposed to be there, we are able to arrest those people. But we want to arrest those people who are not supposed to be there. We arrest the people that employ them there. You employ illegal people, they will be arrested. You, as employer and employee, so we'll go and collect them there. And the last request is that those that they do enclose the road, please don't do that. If you want to clash and fight among yourselves, those that are employing wrong people and those that are employed by the wrong people. But the roads allow the people of South Africa to utilize, that's a facility, that's not the place to fight for the people that are having contradictions on their workplace. But thanks very much. We hope that where we are today, life will be better. One thing I was told, that you never use never unless you negate never. You never use never unless you negate never. So I heard the gentleman saying never. No. We'll sit down, we'll work on these things, and surely, our brains and our minds pulled together cannot just be defeated by 1 point out of 11 points. And we fight on one. No. We'll have to really find an answer. But thanks very much, everybody. Allow the people of South Africa go. Please don't interfere with them on their roads, whether it's N3s, N2s, N10s, N7s, N4s, N8s, N12s. Let these roads be free and be utilized by South Africans. If you are not, you will be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Minister of Police, Minister Begicele, for his contribution and comments. Colleagues, I will now hand over to the. We will now be stepping into the signing of the compact between the members of the various organizations. Oh, apologies, Minister. I'll now open up for a round of questions and answers. If members of the media and those gathered here with us today have questions, please do. Just the media. If members of the media could please state their name and the media house in which they come from. The question and answer session will run by 3 sessions of 3 questions. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Good afternoon. My name is William Hall. I come from Media 24. This is to Mr. Casey. The point 11 of your action plan, that is in contention, could you expand on what it is that the operating licenses seek to do exactly and what the main contention against it is? Thank you.
All right, and so we come out of that Inter-Ministerial Committee that's meeting with the Trucking and Logistics Sector.